One of the curious accoutrements of the Kremlin are the very large benches that sit just outside it, almost too big for comfort, such that the first time I passed them I imagined giant Cossacks resting themselves as they visited the capital. What those giant Cossacks might make of today's Russian army would be interesting to know, especially with Monday's Victory Day military display in and around the Kremlin. It is expected that the Russian president will use the occasion to formally declare war on Ukraine and call up a full mobilization of troops, especially conscripts. Such a move will deepen the conflict around the invasion of Ukraine, may result in the use of heavier and more deadly armaments and further entangle Ukraine in a proxy war. Of course, another avenue open to Vladimir Putin may be to use Victory Day to engage in some much-needed risk management, and to declare a mission accomplished in the context of a much degraded Russian army. If he did so, it would be in keeping with the current macroclimate where, in the context of the unravelling of monetary policy and the business cycle, strategy has given way to risk control. While Vladimir Putin and the Nasdaq don't ordinarily have much in common, this week's pronounced volatility in the financial markets, an assortment of some of the biggest daily moves in over 50 years, and Mr Putin's behaviour, together signal that we are at the end of an era that was marked in Pa. In many ways, as we leave globalization behind, we are unwinding its many positives, and those who puzzle the fact that there are so many events should step back and consider the very big picture, which is that economic, geopolitical and financial cycles have left the globalization phase and enter. End of globalization. The interregnum is not a well-defined phase, but rather involves the breaking down of established things, from political parties in France, to the WTO, and more recently apparently Roe/Wade, to give a few examples, whilst more optimistically building up new things, the digital E. My suspicion is that from an economics point of view, one of the key factors that will define the interregnum with respect to globalization is that we will have much shorter business cycles, certainly compared to the two very long ones that characterized globalization, i.e. 9201, 1120, as the effects of K, indebtedness, questionable productivity rates and digitisation all unfold. This will necessarily make financial markets more interesting. If this is the case, it will make life more difficult for companies at large, for real estate in particular, and at a guess may mean that more capital flows to companies operating in areas defined by new technologies and innovations, healthcare in particular, and that are part of secular trends, the